Well, hello there, friend. Welcome back to more Dwarf Fortress. Sorry about the delay, but we are back to Goldstones. Now, it is late autumn, and there's a couple things we absolutely, positively have to do this episode. So, as it's late autumn, we are going to be moving into winter very, very soon, and I believe we're in the temperate zone, so our river will eventually freeze, which means we won't have any of this lovely water to play with. Now, everything is pretty much ready to go with our reservoir down below. So here's our kind of our water shaft. It's all going to flood down into here. What we need to do at this point is start putting these triggers, these levers down, and then link those levers with the floodgates. A couple other things I want to do. We need to go ahead and put down a well preemptively because we're going to eventually want to have some access to this water. So I wanted to go ahead and throw down a well right now. We only have one bucket left. If I take a look at that again, if we try to build the well, you can see how I'm going through different items required to build this. So we have 8 blocks, but we only have one bucket right now. So I actually might do a couple of bucket orders if we could possibly queue that up over here in yon carpenter shop. And thinking about it, I think the well requires an architect in order to design. And our architect, I believe, let me go back over to Dwarf Therapist, read from our game real quick. Or not, or it's going to freak out. Can I try this one more time? Hey, why isn't Stone Sense playing any music either? That's not fun. Play music, Stone Sense. I demand it. So our architect is currently Jackson. No, it's Jamie. So I'm actually going to queue up a couple of random folks to be our architects as well. Just a few extra folks to help out because more hands makes less work, right? Is that what we do? Right-click to toggle auto-launch. I should always auto-launch Dwarf Therapist and Sound Sense. That makes life a little bit easier. All right. So we are going to be designing the well, which is pretty quick. There goes the lever coming down. And I'm actually going to immediately trigger, well, we need the other switch first. We can't link this to this because currently this floodgate is closed.
Don't tell the elves, but all the fish are gone.
All the fish are gone. Awesome. So that was one of our Sound Sense sound effects there. So the second lever is down. We're going to go ahead and go over to the lever, pressing Q, and do A, and then link up to a floodgate. Now, this is going to give us an option on which floodgate we want to link up to. And you can see from the yellow X there. We're going to choose this floodgate because it's the outer floodgate. By the way, I'm not sure if I've mentioned this before. The little symbols on either side of the item represent the item quality. And we'll talk about that in a bit. Also, I think I can make this a do now task. So if you want something to be done immediately, we should be able to say, do the task now. I don't know if that just simply makes it to the top of a build list, like if you're crafting 20 buckets or something. Oh, that's terrifying. So winter is here. That's great. There goes our architect hooking up one of our levers. So as soon as, you know what, and I'll tell you what, while they're doing this, I'm actually going to go ahead and have our miners breach the wall to the stream. That way, if the winter arrives and it freezes our stream, we should already have some water built up in the water shaft to go in. And I'm actually going to make this a high priority mining job. There we go. So that should be mined out immediately, which it is. It's already turning yellow, which is good. I'm also getting a lot of noises about can't do magnetite ore. So I think we actually ran out of a spare magnetite. So I'm going to go ahead and cancel this order so we stop getting fussed at about that. So let's stay down here. So I think that's been done. So let's go ahead and, yeah, let's open up this floodgate. And I will do the end thing again. I'm not sure if that really helps out or not. Cannot produce iron bars. Yes, we know. No worries there. So it's going to open up the outer floodgate. And now we can link up the inner floodgate. At some point, by the way, I think I will put another floodgate way at the top, right by the source of the water up here. That way we can stop the flooding from the source if we ever need to. Now, if we breach the wall, it's going to be hard to do that until it's winter. And then everything is going to freeze and we should be able to get into this water shaft easily. You can see all the water going down right now. We just breached the wall. Ooh, this music is great. Okay, so you can see the water's slamming up against the floodgate. We're still trying to link this trigger. I'm actually going to stay down here this episode until this is all done because this is a pretty high issue right now. Pull the lever, Kronk. So he's going to pull the lever. And now the water is going to start flooding into the room. So there we go. Our reservoir is going to get filled up. And the rest of the water is going to spread out from kind of this main entrance room. It's going to flood over into these other farming areas. And the reason, by the way, the dwarf can move into this room is because it's only below 7. Anywhere that there's water below 7 means it's not completely flooded. So now this whole room is actually completely filled up. And if there was no, like say we shut this floodgate, the water would actually come up and out into our well room because there is kind of a way for the water to escape and there's still pressure built up behind it. But right now all the water is going to kind of push out this way. I think we're good. I'm going to go ahead and close the outer floodgate first. Step uno. And I'm also going to close the inner floodgate. I think we've got enough water here and here to spread out into all the fields. We'll see. We shall see here in a moment. So close that. There we go. No more water coming into our reservoir. And that closes off the reservoir to the rest of our farm fields. There we go. We might have a little bit too much water. This is going to have to equalize. You can see it says 5s and 4s and all that jazz. Real quick, so we don't have a calculation problem, I'm going to fill up this room completely. So I'm actually going to open the floodgate a little bit more until this room is all 7s. And it might overflow a bit onto the floor above it, but that's okay. That's not gonna break too much. It'll have a little tiny bit of flooding. Hello? At least in theory it should. It should all go to 7s here at some point. Look, water math is hard, guys, okay? Water math is weird. We're almost done with the well, which is good. There we go. It's almost completely full. And that room is now completely full. So we're going to go ahead and close the outer floodgate. You might see a little bit of water spill up and out. Again, all this water is coming from a higher source. So the water pressure is continually trying to push water up and out. So it might flood over a bit. That's no big deal, though. It's not going to break the fort. We've already closed off the door and everything's good. Look at that. We even have a meeting hall ready to go. We've got a well. We're going to go ahead and make this our meeting hall. In fact, I do want to put down 2 doors here. We'll throw down some Gabbro doors. And that way when we designate our room... There's no more fish. When we designate our room, the doors will prevent this designation thing from going through. So right there. This is our new meeting room. Hopefully nobody's going to fall through the floor. In fact, can we build more wells? I really would like to prevent our dwarves from falling through to their doom. There we go. We should have enough mechanisms, ropes, all sorts of stuff. We need a couple more mechanisms at this point. Where is my mechanic workshop? There we go. Let's go ahead and add me a few more of those. Can I make a traction bench? I think we need a chain for a traction bench. Traction benches will help you set broken bones, I believe. It's been a hot minute since I've messed with those. So there you go. All right, well, I think we're pretty good down here in the farms. It's going to take a while for all of this water to evaporate. I think I talked about this before. Anywhere there's a 1, the water will eventually evaporate. So hopefully... Oh, you little sneaky bugger. That's what Kias do. Oh, that's right. They steal items. Oh, no. What a horrible place to have stuff. So Kias are going to be stealing... Are they still dive bombing us, the little buggers? No, they only have chinchillas on the field. All right, fair enough. They stole a wheelbarrow. I don't know how. It's like a swallow, an African swallow that just stole a wheelbarrow. Let me reclaim some stuff here for fun. More steel bolts that are just lying about. A boot. Otherwise, I think we're, as we start to breach into cold Mr. Winter, we're at a pretty good spot. Let me go ahead and start digging. Let me go ahead and hide designations a little bit. Shift-Alt-P. We're going to dig out a couple more bedrooms. So let me designate these real quick. Okay, all the new bedrooms have been designated. So we'll dig out some more space. And eventually we will have, of course, more migrants joining us. And also, I think I'm going to start spreading out in this direction because I'd like to... We can put something in here. Maybe like a little prison room or something. We're going to do a little hallway. And I think I'm going to set up some nobility rooms, some early nobility rooms, just to have these out of the way. We can actually have like an entrance through here, and then it might attach to, you know, say the study, and then over to their dining hall or something like that. Or we do like a 4 by something. Like that, maybe? And then we just have... We could do that in 4 areas. So we have 4 nobility rooms. I'll do one for now. I'm not sure how many we're really gonna need, but that's fine. We can start messing around with some mayoral rooms for our fancy people. I'm sure our mayor will want one. Our manager requires a meager office, which I don't have yet. But we're really not using our manager all that much, so no huge loss there. How's our farms coming along? I think we're going to have to open a door up. If you don't get the balance right, and I think I might have waited a little bit too long. Now, this will actually make it a little bit faster, too. Let's remove this door. And what's going to happen is all this extra water is just going to spill out into the hallway. So eventually, it's gonna muddy the floor, but we could always build over it. I don't know if you could smooth a wet floor, and if that fixes the water problem or not. But at the end of the day, we could always build a floor over it and prevent anything from growing. Because if you leave a floor that just has mud on it, eventually that floor, I think, will grow stuff, which is, you know, lovely. Let's go ahead and finish off this last hole with a well. I'm not entirely sure if our dwarves will fall in or not. I'm really nervous about someone randomly falling through this well. So, and, you know, we got children everywhere. I don't even know what this kid's doing. He's like eating a make believe. What are you carrying on you? You got like a little pink symbol there. What is that? What are you carrying? It's like a little, is it a toy? Or is it the symbol for make believe? That little, you can see it there. There's a little purple rock almost. I don't know. Who knows what children do, honestly. So we're going to wait for this to kind of flood out. And once the water all starts to go away, then we'll start our new planting area. We'll bring our seeds over here. We'll start putting that all down, which is going to be great. Now, also, we should start planning for our kitchens, too, since we're going to have our farming ready to go. We should start planning out the rest of this little shindig. So here's the thing. We have... Boy, what do we have? We've got a couple layers of residences here. I think we're gonna designate 3 floors for residences, right? So 1, 2, 3. This is the well. Down here was going to be a farm, and we can also expand the farm this way as well if we need more farms. Now, I really can't go in this direction too much because it's kind of being used. This is pretty much our farming floor. The well is up here. We could bring our kitchen zone, if you will, over to this side. And I think we're going to have our grand hall below. Grand hall, hall of, what is it? Hall of death? What was I going to say this room? Honored dead. I think that's what HD was. So the honored dead are hanging out over there. All right. I want to try a certain kitchen design. And I kind of like this one. I think it's called, on their DF wiki, it's called like the organic room or something. And how this works is you set up a bunch of areas all supporting each other. So for example, we would have a butcher up here in the corner. Okay. We would have, or like a little butcher shop, and I'll just kind of hollow out a spot. So this is the butcher shop. We would store raw meat right here, or raw corpses right here. And so the butcher would take the corpse to the butchery, and then raw meat would be stored right here. And in this space would be a kitchen. So they'll actually take the raw meat, make it into a meal. The meals would be stored right here, for example. All of the plants might be stored here. The stills that process drinks would be set up right here. So you're basically pulling from stockpiles that are all helping each other out. So I need to figure out the measurements real quick. So let me get that exact measurement, and then I'll come back and we'll talk about it once it's kind of all designed. Okay, so here is our new kitchen. It's crazy, right? It looks absolutely insane how large this is going to be. I really haven't done this in mass scale, so I'm really excited to see how this is going to work out. Our miners are going to be incredibly busy, and I may want to go ahead and put a couple of doors in here as opposed to just one door. We'll have a couple entrances so people can not crawl all over each other trying to get in and out. But again, we shouldn't have like, I don't know, I guess we'll have like 6 to 7 dwarves. The hardest part will be right at the entrance because we'll have dwarves coming and going quite often. But there we go. What else is going on? Our farm is coming in nicely. We probably want to start moving stuff down to food storage here in a little bit, but we have time because we're still waiting on our farms here to kind of flood out. Let's see. Grand Hall we can wait for the Grand Hall for later. We don't really have to worry about having our Grand Hall all finished up right now. Are there any dwarves that are idle? I kind of think, if I remember right, doesn't it tell you? Yes, it does tell us that we have some idlers up here. So as long as that number stays down, that's telling us that there's always stuff to do. And there really is. Like, we have got a billion rocks. As you can see, our dwarves have been very slowly but steadily taking all of the rocks to storage. So it's kind of a long-term process. Did we ever finish? Did we like want to? Yeah, there's the extra storage up here. So here's our random rock storage up above. That's so weird. I'm sure we don't really need that. Hey, look, our trade depots are done underneath the ground, which is kind of cool. Hey, do we have any dogs? real quick, let's talk about that. Do we have dogs? We have 2 stray dogs. Okay, let's talk about war dogs because I want some war dogs. Now, this zone is an animal zone. Can we also make it an animal training zone? We can. Awesome. So we're going to designate this as an animal training zone. And you just have to have an animal training zone done for animal training to take place. So what we need to do, I believe, is go into our Z screen, go to animals, and go down to our dogs. I think down here it says war training, hunting training. Can we train them for both? Ooh, don't slaughter. War training or H. Okay. So that's for war training. Okay, so we can either train them for war or hunting. And I think I'd rather have 2 war dogs right now. So we're going to queue up the dogs for hunting, or sorry, for war dog training. If they're bonded to someone, I'm trying to remember, I don't entirely know if they can be trained as war dogs. Can we also train the puppy early? We can't. We have to wait till it becomes a grown dog. Fair enough. Do we have an animal trainer? Come to think about it. Let's take a quick peek at Dwarf Therapist, and it should be under... Oh goodness, where are we at here? Where's animal training at? Green stuff, right? Animal... There's no animal trainer. So, I think if we right-click on any of these skills, and whenever we sort it, there's a default sort by the level of skill. We can actually sort it by, I think it's the role. I think role means who would best be fitted into this position based on their stats, I believe. Like, for example, there's certain stats that animal training and animal care have behind the scenes that will make someone good at that job. And I think it's based on these different attributes. So I don't know. I'm sure there's like, is there like a sensitivity? Empathy. I bet someone with high empathy. Let's actually see that. Let's see. Who's got the highest empathy? Libash Ushis something has the highest empathy. Does that make someone a good animal trader? There's Libash. So if we sort this by animal training, and it should be sorted by the skill rate, 54%, or the role rating, 54%. So Libash is somewhere down there. And if you hover over it, you can see that it's got related roles here. And I don't know if that percentage just means this role is a 54% good fit for locum. I really don't know about the attribute stuff. That's relatively new to me. But we will queue up animal training and animal care to locum, and maybe someone else too, just to have as a backup. This music is so intense. What are we playing right now? It's just crazy music. Is it copyrighted? Am I about to get punished on YouTube? I never even thought about that. Here's to hoping that SoundSense doesn't take any of its music from copyrighted sources.
I fished all the fish there are. So
Fished all the fish there are. Hey, is everyone using a wheelbarrow to haul stones? I think they are. It's kind of hard to catch people when they're walking around because they're going up and down stairs so frequently. But yeah, they look like they're all using wheelbarrows. Ooh, what was that? I think that was the training done. Yeah, an animal has become a stray war dog. So now if we go to our Z screen in animals, we'll see that one of our dogs is a war dog. I think we can press enter. It's a work animal, so it shouldn't bond to anyone. We could geld the animal if we didn't want it to reproduce as well. Can I go it through here? Stray war dog. Somewhere over here. Where'd my puppies go? I think it just went downstairs. Yep, there it is. So there's our stray war dog. What we're going to do with this stray war dog is we are going to set up kind of a sentry post. And what we can do for this is, number one, do we have any chains available? If we try to build, go under B, and I think it's going to be under restraint, needs a chain. So we don't have any chain. So let's go into our workshop zone. And I think we might have smelted a little bit of iron. Let's go ahead and make, what's it under? Iron, these are all, no, these are not the things that I'm looking for. What would a chain be under? Furniture? Apparently it's under furniture. We're going to make a couple of iron chains. So we're going to make those real quick. What does a traction bench need? We just try to make a traction bench. I seem to remember, I think it needs, number one, it's going to need mechanisms. I think it also needs blocks, which I believe we have a couple of. Listen here, SoundSense, I love you, but we're going to knock our Kerbal Space Program music down a bit. As much as I love listening to the Kerbal Space Program music, it's going to really confuse my inner soul. I'm going to start to think about orbital patterns, and like I don't already have enough math to worry about with Dwarf Fortress. So we're almost moved completely inside. It is midwinter. We have, in a minute or two, there we go. You can actually see our farms are starting to evaporate. And actually, you can build on a level 1 water, wrong word, but it's the level 1 water. If it's only 1 deep, you can actually build over it. So if we go to BP for farm, we're actually going to build 3 farms here. 3 lovely long farms. So BP, BP, BP. And we will have our farmer come out here and start designating those. He'll move all the rocks out of the way first. And once those are built, we're going to cancel our... In fact, we can actually do that right now to prevent our farmer from planting more. We're going to just say, go fallow. So press Z. So it's going to be a fallow farm until we're all done with it. Let's also go ahead and kill this room and these tables and chairs because we're no longer going to use this area anymore. It's about to be cleared up for the new world, basically, our new improved area. Oh, look, our engraver's working hard. There we go. We fertilize field. Oh, did I click the wrong thing? I think I meant to do fertilize. Cancel. Oh, F for cancel fertilize. I pressed F instead. Board is looking good. Where's our little storage area? I made this storage area. I meant to extend it out. We'll extend this at some... Well, you know, I'll tell you what. We are full up on furniture just about. Let me cancel the furniture. I think this furniture zone stretches to down here. So we'll just make a new furniture storage area right here. Stretching all the way from here to here. Lovely. Looks good. I think a couple more waves of migrants. And this rock situation is going to be vastly, vastly improved. Hey, cool. All of our wells are done. And dwarves, I think, are using this as a meeting hall. So if a dwarf doesn't have anything to do, and they do take breaks from time to time. So you'll see that they'll have in here, they'll have a message about taking a break or having, I don't know if they have fun or what the exact wording is, but they will come chill out a bit.
No, I can't do it.
You can see our farmer got a little bit confused because there's actually stone still under the work site and he wasn't able to pull it all out. So you might have to micro some of that. That's also part of the reason I like to get the stones out of the way. This water thing is kind of driving me crazy. I wonder if we can just... Well, I think it's always going to happen because anytime they bring the well down, I wonder if when a dwarf drinks, do they take 1 level of water from wherever the bucket goes into? That might be the case, actually. I like how just when we feel like we're getting a nice leg up on the stone situation, we carve out a massive new room for our dwarves to have to worry about. Poor fellers. They're just trying to work hard, and we keep giving them more and more things to do. Back to it. It makes you strong, okay? Yeah, we keep having our room cancel. Are you forbidden rock? Are you a forbidden rock? Oh, you were a forbidden rock. So one of the rocks that I had forbidden in the mine shaft actually got pushed in from water flow to the room where they can't move it because it was forbidden. So whenever someone's trying to build something, they'll always move an item from underneath the floor out of the way unless it's forbidden. So that helped to explain that. One of our other fields is done. I think we're just about ready to go. Can I go ahead and put down a new farm plot? Oh, sorry, not plot, but we're looking at putting down a stockpile. Oops, I'm just pressing random buttons. I didn't mean to do that. Reserved barrels, 0. I don't know what that was. Let's go to custom. I'm going to enable food. And I'm going to block everything except for seeds. This is going to be a seed-only stockpile. And I lost the room that I wanted to go to right here. So this is going to be a seed stockpile right here. Ah, yes, I think the water does mess with the stockpile a little bit. Once that evaporates, that'll look a little bit better. Okay, so let's go back up here. We've only got about 5 more plots of crops, I guess, to harvest. And then we'll be able to take out the rest of the farm area. Our old farm area. We've struck topaz. Lovely. Hey, do we have a gem cutter? We should set a gem cutter. Who ain't doing much? Who would be good at cutting the gems? Gem cutting and gem setting. Swole, our wood cutter, apparently has a affinity, perhaps, for setting gems. We also have Momus. You know what? I've been watching a lot of Avatar lately. I want to rename this one Momo. So there we go. Momu's is now Momo. And I think you don't really have much going on. You're a milker and you're a plant gatherer. Oh, you know, you are one of our fishers. We don't want to take you off doing fishing. So we'll just rename you Momo and leave it at that. You, my friend, Dastot, we will actually make you a gem cutter and a gem setter. So you'll start doing that work. And you'll be awful at it, and it'll be horrible, but eventually you might actually turn into something quite good. Also, all of these new bedrooms need their beds. I'm going to go into planning mode, and I'm going to go ahead and place all of the beds down, all of the doors, and kind of get this out of the way so our dwarves can start delivering the beds and then making replacement beds as well. Okay, so all of the planning is done. We'll see how that turns out down the road. I think I also wanted to designate this little stretch to be mined out. I think we're going to put something like some statues in here. For funsies. I would queue up some statues, but I think I'm going to wait because I think our miner or mason has quite a lot to do already. And I don't want them to be always sitting there doing nothing but statues. Oh, you know what? On that note, what I would normally have my mason doing right now if they didn't have anything to do. What are they doing, by the way? Are they just moving stuff from point A to point B? Oh, they're doing the detailing. That's right, which isn't unimportant. I'll tell you what we're going to do. We're going to actually use the manager. I don't know if we can because the manager doesn't have an office. Let's queue up an order. We're going to say construct rock crafts. And we're going to say make 100 rock crafts. There we go. So let's see how the work order system works, I guess. So no linked shop. Do I actually have to link it? One shop max. In theory, I really want it to be the shop that's under the stone. Make rock crafts. Make rock crafts. So both of these actually have the make rock crafts job. How do we leave it? Hang on. What's this workshop profile? The profile... Ooh, no active work orders tied to this shop. Interesting. Is it tied to this shop instead? Go back to that. 0 workshops tied. How do I tie... Increase priority, set maximum workshops, details. Okay, can I do it through here? Can I go to this workshop and say I want you to work on this work order? No. New order? Oh, interesting. I can do work orders through the buildings now. Ooh. I don't think I knew that I could do that. Well, there we go. So if we go back to our overall work order system. Ah, interesting. Okay, there we go. So we can actually make a work order through a shop. And therefore have that work order permanently tied to a particular shop. That is freaking neat. I like learning stuff when I've already had a lot of experience playing the game, but there's always something new that comes up that is just, it's either always been there and I've never taken the time to just look into it. Or maybe I've just, I've learned it wrong. We taught him wrong as a joke. Let's really quickly make sure that all of the rooms upstairs are all nice and designated for bedrooms. I think they're pretty much all designated for bedrooms here. So I'll wait for all these to be delivered, and then I'll designate all of these as bedrooms as well. Okay, it's about time for our farms to get all fully developed. So here's what's going to take up a good chunk of the next couple minutes. We're going to cancel this old stockpile, which was kind of, I think it was an all-in-one food stockpile. We're going to leave the farm as is because I do still want those last couple of plants. But we are going to queue up just one of our farms right now to take care of Plump Helmet. So one of them is going to be a permanent Plump Helmet farm. Because we simply just don't have enough Plump Helmet spawn to keep all 3 farms going. So this one's going to be the Plump Helmets farm. And this is our room, by the way, that we were talking about. This is going to be our new massive kitchen, which is going to be an all-in-one. And I'm going to talk about how this is going to all interconnect here. So let's design it as we go. I'm going to wait for these last 2 spots to be designated, and we're all set. So we're going to have 7x7 storage areas. So the first storage area that we're going to do is going to be for prepared food. So I'm actually going to close everything off. You can see that everything is turned off, like B, block, all, everything is turned off. But we can press U to allow prepared food here. So this is going to be, hey, math is hard. P, C for custom, and I think it still keeps the last thing you did, which it does. So our first storage is going to be a 7x7 area for prepared food. Okay, and from there, we're going to start building our workshops. So first thing first, we are going to build a couple of kitchens. One of them is probably, well, I think both of them eventually, once we have a lot of dwarves in this fort, we're going to have 2 full-time kitchens going just to keep up with demand for prepared meals. I'm going to go ahead and just set all the buildings up first, and then I'll come back and describe how they all interact. So let me do that real quick, and I will be right back. Okay, friends, so welcome to the absolute chaos that is this storage room. If you want to do this yourself, this is under the DF Wiki, under the Workshop Design Wiki page. It's called Organics Processing Complex. That is what this crazy, chaotic mess is. And what I'm going to try to do is just show you briefly. I'm not going to go in depth about every single thing, but I do want to just give you the basics. So let's just talk about if I kill a deer, right? Let's just say if we kill something in general. So a generic deer of some sort. We bring the corpse over here to the refuse stockpile. And this is actually customized, so it's not every type of refuse. It's actually like only hooves, bones, hair, and remains. Remains, I believe, are fresh corpses. So the animal will be pulled from here to the butcher shop. Okay? Butcher will butcher it and drop the raw meat here in this raw meat stockpile. This stockpile is going to contain raw meat, prepared fish, and plants that you can cook. From there, that raw meat would be taken to a kitchen, one of 2 kitchens, because we will need 2 kitchens. At a certain point, we're going to need a lot of kitchens to stay full-time with keeping the food demand for the fort. Once the kitchen makes this into a meal, the meal is then stored in the prepared food stockpile. And in fact, if we go to the settings, if you're ever unsure how to make a prepared food stockpile, it's actually a special option here under U for prepared food. So everything else stays disabled, but U stays white. And the leather from our deer friend is immediately processed from a raw hide into leather at the tannery, which is right next door to the butcher shop. That hide that's been turned into leather is now going to be stored in the leather stockpile, which can then be used by our leather works. So everything is really close. The fisher shop is right close to the door because I believe whenever we have a fish that needs to be prepared, it'll immediately get picked up. It's kind of like auto queued up. You don't even have to do anything. They immediately try to clean the fish. So we have raw plants stored here. These get turned in by the stills. 2 stills here. They'll get turned into alcohol. This is our booze stockpile right here. This stockpile is for barrels only because all of these food and alcohol producers are going to need somewhere to store their alcohol. We have fat storage right here because we will be processing some fats. We have cloth and kind of a loom and thread area in this corner. So basically a loom will make thread, which can then be processed into different types of cloth. I think I'm not really up to speed on the cloth side of the house, so that'll be something we mess around with later on. And then we have a clothier shop, leather workers, and then 2 craft store shops. And these 2 shops are here because we can actually make stuff out of bone. So yeah, whew, it's chaotic looking. I know it looks absolutely bonkers, but hopefully, and I've never done this one before, so I'm really eager to see how this turns out, but we're going to have dwarves moving a ton of stuff over the next couple of minutes. So we'll let them work that out and we'll see how good this is. I don't know. This could be successful. It could be absolutely awful. I really have no idea on what to expect. Already our farmer is working on the farm, which is great. Hopefully over time, we'll start to bring down our seeds and get those stored regularly in our little seed stockpile. And like I said before, whenever someone sits down to eat something, they will basically eat and drop a seed. So if something, well, I should say if certain foods have this, I think all plump helmet is always going to drop a seed. So if I eat something made of plump helmet, like a biscuit, it'll drop a seed. Someone comes by and picks up that individual seed and then drops it back in the seed stockpile. So it's kind of complex, actually. We don't have our grand hall finished up yet, but we still want our dwarves to enjoy a nice, relaxing dinner. So let's actually set up a little dining hall. We're going to put a bunch of tables here. We actually have quite a few tables. So let's put down some mixtures of diorite, granite, rutile. I have no idea what all these different types of stone are. We're basically going to set up... We're out of thrones, my friends. We'll set up a little dining hall on the same level as our rooms, basically. I need thrones, man. I need thrones right now. Workflow constraint. Let's add a workflow thing here for some basic chairs. Like I said, I do want to go to the manager system, but I think I'm going to do that between episodes because that's a lot of mucking about with those different settings. So we'll start to build a new dining hall, and we can also build a little tiny storage for prepared meals here. In fact, we'll do one for drinks. We'll put drinks over here like this, and we'll make a little storage here for prepared food in the corner. And again, we've talked about this before. Having stockpiles chained to each other lets you have like a main stockpile and then stockpiles that'll accept delivery. So for example, this tiny stockpile, we'll use T for take from, and we'll go find our main prepared food stockpile, which is right here, and we'll take from that. We'll take our booze stockpile, use T, and take from the main booze stockpile up here. So basically, you're making the food, and whatever your food, your alcohol in this room, and whenever someone has a minute and you need to replenish your stores, they'll just come down, grab a spare barrel of stuff, and drop it off in the eating area. So there we go, all is well. Ooh, lots of stuff to cover, guys. I hope this is not super mega overwhelming. I know it can seem like quite a bit. And I know Dwarf Fortress is not exactly... Oh, get that purple table out of here. There will be no... Look, this is already driving me crazy. But I will accept slightly off-white colored tables. I don't want a purple table. This is not... There's no purple tables in my fortress. Thank you very much. There we go. Give me a good old granite table. Hey, drop that table. I forbid it. I want that table dumped. Where'd it go? All right, you're going to go store it in the stockpile. But then I'm going to go dump it. As soon as you drop it off, I'm going to dump this table. You're the forbidden table. Let's see. We need to start getting a little bit more iron farmed out. And if I recall, yes, we did see a wee bit of iron here. We got some magnetite on the outside of our fort. So I'm going to... Ooh, this might be a good time to show off another tool from DF Hack. Yeah, let's try it out. Okay, we're going to use the dig vein command. So I'm going to do dig question mark. Hopefully this doesn't break everything. Dig. Okay, here's the possibilities. Dig vein. I think it's dig V. LS dig. Ooh, this is cool. Yeah, here we go. Dig a whole vein. So I think all you have to do is be highlighting. Oops. Have your mouse over something that is a vein of anything, and then do dig V. And what this did is it queued up digging orders for that. Oh God. Okay, that might have been a little much. It auto detects where the rest of the vein is, even in areas that you can't see. So this definitely could be considered an exploit. But if you just want just tell your dwarves, look, just dig as long as you'd see this, this ore, then that dig V command would make sense. We got to be a little bit careful that we don't bring down the entire mountain on the heads of our dwarves. So what I'll do is I'll actually dig in from one angle. And the game already kind of cheats you a little bit to tell us that this area was had stuff in it. So we will make a couple of entrances here, and then eventually we'll just strip mine this out. But we do got to be careful, because if we completely remove the underground or the supports here, the ceiling can and will collapse on our heads. So whenever you're near an area that has, you're starting to work towards the edges with ramps and stuff, you do have to be a little careful, because your dwarves might experience a sudden strong impact to the noggin. Our stone stockpile is completely filled up. What's this blue stuff? This is cobalite. Is cobalite just a rock? What is cobalite? Let's pull down the wiki here. You can see the wiki in action. Ooh, cobalite. It'd be kind of cool to have some stuff made out of cobalite. Hello? What's cobalite? Cobaltite. My fault. Cobaltite. What are you? You are just a brilliant blue stone. Notably, the only stone of its color found as veins in numerous environments. It is an ore of cobalt, a metal that's not modeled in Dwarf Fortress. Huh. It derives from the word cobalt. There you go. You learned something new today. I'll tell you what. Why don't we try to do this? Can I actually request a couple of... Ooh, I have an idea. Let's go to the mason shop. We're going to use the workshop profile by pressing Shift P. We're going to go to work orders, queue for a new work order. We're going to make some statues. I want to have how many do we have? Like 6 maybe? I want 6 statues. And if I go under details, I want to specify the stone as Cobalite. Oh, right there. The first one on our list. Awesome. I want to make 6 Cobalite statues because I think some blue statues would actually be kind of cool. So we have a little bit more Cobalite lying around. There's some Cobalite there. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, at least 10 Cobalite there. Yeah, we actually have quite a few Cobalites things sitting around here. So let's go ahead and go back to the overall manager screen, UM, and then Cobalite statue. Can I change this number? Increase priority. How do you change a work order once it's done? Cobalite statue conditions, one-time order. Increase the priority. I guess you can only do it once, I believe. Is that the case? 8293. Yeah. Seems like we can only do it like one time. Let's just delete the order and I'll just add it back. Okie dokie. I've got 15 Cobalite statues queued up. So whenever our mason gets done building thrones and all sorts of fun stuff, he will start working on that. Meanwhile, let's build some more chairs. And I think we actually are out of thrones. I think we should be able to designate this as a dining hall. So what I'll do is I'll pick the table that's farthest from the door, press R, and then make this dining hall. And we're not going to make it a meeting hall. It's not really big enough to hold like a large amount of dwarves that are idle. So we're not going to make it a meeting hall just yet. We're going to just make it a place where people can come eat. And there you go. You can see a dwarf sitting down to a lovely meal. And I don't quite think we're set up yet where our food is actually being transported to the right spot, but we're getting close. We are getting close. There you can see the stills have been constructed. Our chefs must be busy. What are you guys up to down here? You are... Oh, this is our liaison. What are you up to, man? Why don't you leave? Well, just leave. Look at our legendary fish cleaner. They can clean a fish in no time flat. That's how amazing they are. What is this gold stuff? Cassiterite. Cassiterite. I'm going to go with the autofill. An ore of tin. There we go. From the far land of Tinland. Perfect. Crafts Dwarf's shop is done. Now, we don't really... How do you replicate a seed? I'm trying to remember. Can we replicate and get more than one seed at any time? How does one get more seeds? Seed barrel. We got sweet pod, rock nuts, pigtail. Let's go ahead and put down some pigtail. I really don't know. It's been a long time since I've messed around with other types of crops, so this might be a bit of a exploratory nature thing. Let's put down some plump helmet or some dimple cups here. We are on winter, aren't we? Where's winter is D. Yeah, so we're trying to plant dimple cups. And if we go back over to crops here, we'll learn a little bit more about the crops. So I think there is a lovely chart here that explains what these all are. So plump helmet is a wet and a dry crop. It can be planted all year round, and it can be planted in subterranean area. Layers 1 through 3. How do we get more products in the value of the product? Drink value. This is interesting. Certain drinks have more value than others. I guess they're all amazing because they're all alcohol. What do we just try to plant? Dimple cups? Dimple cups? Words are hard. Dimple cups. These make nothing. They make dimple cups spawn and dimple die. I love this. Like, they're so in-depth, guys. There's so much stuff here. It can be grown year-round and can be milled into a blue dimple dye. Okay, so not as cool as I was hoping for. What's the one with the nut? We have a nut of some sort out here somewhere. Pigtail can be turned. Now, pigtail is used to make thread. So pigtail is going to be relatively important. It can only be grown in summer and autumn. So we will come around eventually with that. Cave wheat can be processed into flour, which can then be made into bread. So that's actually going to be a long-term thing that could be very valuable. How do you replicate then? All right, so I was actually curious about the whole seed thing in terms of how do we get seeds back? And I went digging a little bit. So here's the deal. Whenever and this is for plump helmet, every crop I think is a little bit different, but for plump helmet, if you eat plump helmet raw, you will drop a seed. If you turn plump helmet into alcohol And now I think when you turn it into alcohol, you drop a seed right away. So we'll actually see, for example, let's just, I don't know, can we just queue up? Extra brew drink from plant. I think that's what we want. Let's just brew a drink from a plant and see if that fires off. We might have a spare plant lying around somewhere, but I believe from one plant of plump helmet, you get 5 alcohol. And then I also believe, do you get 1 seed back from that? I'm trying to remember if it's 1 seed per, I guess, resource that you process, or if it's 1 final product seed. It's pretty confusing nonetheless. Right there you can see our still worker, our brewer, Autumn Lickod. He is, you know what? We're going to rename him because I'm starting to try to remember some of our dwarven friends. We're going to customize him, and we're going to name him Morgan, after good old Captain Morgan. That should help keep him in mind. So we'll watch him make his stuff for a minute. Whenever he leaves, we'll just see what's underneath. So in his shop, he has 2 plump helmets and a barrel. Let's keep that in mind. Let's see what happens once he leaves his shop. And we'll see how many seeds are left behind and how much alcohol. This is good science right here. This is good dwarven science. We watch someone do it, and we watch someone do it, and they're the worst possible brewer in history because it's taking them 10 years to brew something. There we go. So he has brewed it, and he left 1 spawn behind. And inside the dwarven barrel is now 10 units of wine. So he took 2 plump helmet and turned them into 10 units of wine. So it's a 5-to-1 ratio. Now the interesting thing is that I'm fairly sure you can make meals from, how do we do this? I think we can go to profile, work orders, queue, prepare an easy meal. I think perpetual order, details. How do we actually set restrictions here? Increase priority, maximize priority. That's not going to work. How do you make a meal out of a certain item? Details didn't work. Condition. This is going to be like an if you're short, do this. Okay, that's not really working out too well either. Render fat, fine, easy meal. So I guess you don't really have much control if you just have them make a meal. Ooh, but hang on. I think, can you only have a shop take from a certain area? Labor restrictions. Permitted workers, work orders. Prepare an easy meal. Let's remove that work order. How does this part work? I think we can take... This is our booze stockpile. Give to a pile or a workshop. So we're going to press G, and we're going to give to this workshop. Okay. And what if we just prepare easy meals? Let's watch them do 1 meal. Somewhere around here, we're going to have some stored alcohol. There you saw 2 dwarves take the seeds, the spawn away. So there we go. There is our brewer coming to hang out with the wine barrel. Is he just taking a drink? Oh, he's actually drinking because the wine barrel is currently being stored in his office, basically. No one's moved the wine out of the shop yet. So the wine barrel is just sitting here. So dwarves will come and actually get drinks from here as opposed to going to the other area. Hey, by the way, we probably also need, since that seems to be a thing, let's kill one of these little tiny stockpile things. And we're going to put down a finished goods area. And we're just going to have a flask, a goblet, or a cup. I think that's pretty much it. Flask, goblet. Yeah. We'll have a flask and goblet storage right there. And we're going to take from... remember, we've got that really big storage down here for finished goods. Finished goods stockpile. Wow, there's a lot going on. This is really complex. This is more complex. I think this is the deepest dive I've taken into Dwarf Fortress. That's why I'm like struggle busing my way through it. There you saw one of our people take the wine barrel, basically. He's going to take it to storage. This guy was actually coming for a drink, but the red question mark indicates that whatever he was just trying to do was interrupted. So he no longer knows where to get a drink from. Although I'm fairly sure the drink's going to go right here, and he's going to come take a little sip. So there we go. Hopefully they'll store their cups in here, so they'll come into the room, grab a cup, grab a drink, drop the cup, go away. That's the ideal procedures, I guess, for having our dwarves go from point A to point B. Now, we are trying to make an easy meal, but we're only trying to use this stockpile, I think. Workshop, repeat, suspend, do it now. Profile. I don't know how to restrict this based on Permit all. These are you're able to restrict certain people to use your shop. General work orders are allowed to task to this workshop. That's fine. That's fine. Yeah, I'm not entirely sure how you're able to force meals to be made by a certain resource. Like, the problem I'm talking about is if we have booze here and we have raw plants over here, if you turn raw plump helmet, I guess if you turn raw plump helmet into an alcohol, you still get the seed back too. So I guess it's not the worst thing in the world, is it? The thing is, though, I want to abuse the fact that we get 10 alcohol from 2 plants, basically. So if we get 10 alcohol from 2 plants, and then we can turn those alcohol units into meals themselves, then we're basically getting an unlimited source of food, and we don't have to use the raw plump helmet. Hope that makes sense. So ideally, we'd use 1 raw plump helmet to make 5 alcohol. And then each of those alcohols, in theory, could make 1 easy meal, I guess. I have no idea what kind of a meal you need. I don't know if you just mix like bread with wheat with alcohol to make some kind of crazy delicious alcoholic biscuit, but it could be an option for us. Sorry for like going all over the place, guys. A lot of this, like I said before, a lot of this I'm learning on the fly with you, and some of this stuff is, we're just kind of experimenting. Lots of people are hanging out here. You guys have nothing. Wait a minute. Why do we have no one? We have nothing to do. That's not true. So what's the deal here? We most definitely have... Oh, I did the wrong thing. I have plants here. I actually wanted to have plants, not drinks. So this is where plants should be stored. I bet all of these guys are going to go grab plants right now. They better. They better get their plants. There we go. You grab those plants and come store them like you should. So I think everyone's idle because there's nothing else to do. We don't have any more space for storing stone. Well, that's fair. Our poor mason is sitting here making 1 billion crafts, by the way. Did they already finish their crafts? No, they're making their kobolite statues. Lovely. Did they make any crafts down here? Let's go over to the craft storage area. We have honey badger leather quivers. Is that pretty much it? So he's making the kobolite statues first. Oh, that's right. We only have 1 person, don't we? We only have 1 rock crafter, who's also our mason. Stone detailing and stone crafting. Is there anyone else that's really good at stone crafting? Zeneg here is our doctor. We really don't want them working on that. I guess this is the part where you can start giving jobs to random dwarves who've joined your colony. So Labash here doesn't really have any other roles. He's a farmer. He's a plant gatherer. The farmer might be important. The farmer might be a job where he's always busy. This is our stonecrafter, Jade. Momo is still chilling out. Did I ever change Momo's name? I don't think I did. Let's just give this job to Juggler. Wasn't Juggler... Yeah, I think I put... Why are they Juggler? Did I name them that? Was this the person who was basically a really high and like a poet as well? Really high in the social skills? It might be. So we'll assign them to do some stone crafting. And in theory, they should come over here and start working on the project that I had, which was like to make 1 billion crafts. Hopefully the next trade that comes in, because we just noticed that it turned into spring, we'll want to eventually start making some trades. A couple things really quick before I end the episode. I haven't talked about, gosh, at least I don't think I've talked about it. Have I talked about it? I don't think I've talked about certain types of zones. And one of the things I wanted to talk about was if we make a zone and we assign it as a meeting area, you can turn this into a location, and you can basically assign a type of location to an area. So for example, we could make a room and assign it as an inn, a library, a temple, or a guild hall. And the guild hall is actually new to me. I haven't seen a craft guild hall before, but the inn/tavern is kind of cool. The inn/tavern would be an area, of course, the same way you'd have a normal drinking room, much like, I guess this area right now is acting like a drinking area, except that dwarves will sit down and chat and tell tales, and other races will come visit your tavern and come hang out. The downside to having a tavern is that, well, people get drunk and they start fights, and you can actually have people over time beat the crap out of each other and get infections because you don't have soap in your fort. So I don't want to build a tavern just yet. because I'm a little nervous that it might cause me more harm than good at the moment. But we'll experiment more with that down the road, but it could be kind of fun. So yeah, we could have we'll have a library down the road. We'll have a tavern. We'll try out the temples. We'll actually make temples to the different deities, which is pretty fun. But we're still in the very, very early days of Goldstones, right? So we still have a long way ahead of us. We still haven't made any more. So what's the deal? Oh, we didn't actually do long-term orders, did we? No. Let's go back to the, add a new task. Let's go to the profile. Work order. I really like the fact that you can make work orders through a workshop. That's so cool. Brew a drink from a plant. And we're going to say brew 1. Someone told me about this, by the way. You want to set conditional orders to 1. So, for example, we go to the condition screen, add an item condition. Amount of the item is at least what? We are going to change the number is at least 100. We always want 100 drinks on hand. So we always want 10 or 100 brewed drinks. And if it's never, if it's not 100, they will do the order. So they'll brew one thing and then it'll check again and then it'll check again. So in theory, I think this is the smoothest way to do it. I don't know. I guess it's also helpful because you don't overbuild basically. But I don't know how bad the calculations will hurt us long term. Let's see if anyone starts to make the alcohol. Yep, sure enough, our friend is going to grab that. We are going to need a bunch of barrels, a bunch more barrels than we actually have on hand. So I think between this episode and next episode, I'm going to clean up the work order system. And we're going to go fully into the Dwarf Fortress automation as opposed to using... Hey, there's our first statue, by the way. You can see our friend just... he made it, and he's actually going to go store it right away. But either way, we have a statue. We have a couple statues now. Well, that's exciting. So, yeah, we wanted to basically have the automation inside of Dwarf Fortress as opposed to using DF Hack. Oh, gosh, there's so much stuff that I meant to do that I really haven't quite, talked about. We built some chains a while ago, and I wanted to put down the restraint. I'll tell you what, we'll do this restraint at the start of next episode. We'll put our doggies down, and it'll give us something to look forward to. Thanks, friends, for sticking with me as I ramble through trying to figure out some of the aspects of this game. I promise you it won't be the first time, or it won't be the last time. We're looking good. We're looking better. We gotta get rid of some more of the stone. We gotta do something about this stone problem. But so far, I am excited, and I hope you are too, friends. Thanks so much for visiting Goldstones. We are in the early spring of year 207. I think I'll also try to rename a couple of folks for supporters of the channel. So thank you guys all so much for your continued support, and I will try to fit a couple more of our named friends in here. And until next time, friends, take care, be safe, dig deep, and I'll see you next time.